Alright, after we cleaned up the mesh as far as inserting some of these little packages in areas where there was dead spots, we now have to go through the mesh and make sure that all the normals are facing in the right way. So here, I'm going to go to Shading, Backface Culling. And you can see there's a lot of strangeness going on. This top part is transparent. So is the screw, so is the entire faceplate. So in here we have to flip these normals. To do that, all I do is simply go to the object, go to face. Let's highlight one face on the front of this thing and go Control right click to shell. Okay, all these normals need to be flipped. So you go to normals, reverse. Okay, suddenly it looks a lot better. Control right click to shell, normals, reverse. Control right click to shell, normals, reverse. Okay, so just make sure everything looks solid in this mode. Okay, does not. Control right click to shell. A lot better. Make sure you look over all the parts. Basically what happens if you miss this step, all your normals will be inside out on your normal map. Okay? And you'll see an orange appear and everywhere that you have a flipped part. Whoops. To shell. There we go. That's what I get for talking and polygoning at the same time. Alright, next we're going to prep the material. Window, rendering editors, Hypershade. Okay, I'm going to make a new material here. It's going to be a Lambert. So I click on Lambert. And over here, I'm going to name this Lambert Trans. I'm going to lower the transparency on it. And I'm going to apply it by middle mouse button clicking and dragging it over to the mesh. So I get this. Okay, next I'm going to make another Lambert. Well, actually I'm going to use Lambert 1. And reason for that is because anytime I make a new box, it'll be this color. So Lambert, I'm going to make these boxes blue. Okay, so all of these right here need to be gray. Only new boxes get blue. So I'm going to select all of them, go back into Hypershade, and I can apply the one material just to everything. So click on it, then right click, assign material to selection. If you can't get to these parts, you're going to have to fish them out and then right click and go assign material to selection. There's a lot of ways to do this. You can hold shift, then right click. You can say assign existing material trans. That's another way to do it. You can even click and drag this to the object. It's all how you want to do it. I don't care which one, as long as it gets done. Okay, those boxes are setting inside the mesh, but they're not part of the original mesh. So we're going to combine all these things together. Mesh, combine. Okay, now all those boxes, the new boxes, the old boxes, they're all together. And when I highlight it in object mode, everything turns green. This is good. But anytime I make a new box, like this, it'll be blue. This will be easy to spot. So our job is to sit here and make a low poly mesh for this. How do we do that? Well, in transparent mode, I can now quickly and easily grab my blue boxes and go in here and make a very, very primitive type face for this. I don't want any detail whatsoever. I just want to have a box that can encompass certain items in this area. Now, if this gets too hard to manage, we can make sure that that layer exists, and I put it on template. Okay. If this mesh needs to be on there, you just right click and say add selected objects. So now it's templated. There we go. It's a little harder to see this way. You can also use R, which is write protected. It's all how you want to do this. Okay, let's hop into our front view. You can use spacebar to hop in your front view. I have keys set up for front, side, and top. I do this just to make it a little bit easier. There is a lesson on YouTube on how to fix things. It's in the How to Fix Things playlist for Maya. And I show you how to make those hotkeys if you want them. You don't really need them for this, so don't run out and go get them and get sidetracked. So this is what I'm doing. I'm building a little tiny box that will encompass this door. But you can see this stuff right here is going to be normal mapped in. Okay, that's pretty good right there. I'm just going to insert an edge loop here. Then what I'm going to do is take this whole entire form back to about right there. And that's where that begins. So if I move these vertices up, you can see that's what it needs to encompass. Alright, next we're going to take this face right here and extrude it. Move it forward, then jump back into my side view and shape it so it kind of matches this. There we go. Good. Very good. Drag this vertice this way and maybe insert an edge loop here so I can drag this vertice back. The best way to do this is think big, don't put any detail in whatsoever, and make them out of solid parts. We're going to combine them later, if we combine them at all. You're like, wait, can you do that? Of course you can. And if you have instructors that tell you you can't do this, then I don't know. I wouldn't pay any attention to it. Because really, you can make multiple parts pretty easy, and it actually looks a lot better. This saves you on polygons, and it all comes back in the wash anyway. So there's a big bold shape right there. Good stuff. Okay, next we need something to take up the shape of this thing. And we don't have to have it dug deep in there. So I'm going to grab a new box and do one of these numbers. I'm going to take the face at the top, face at the bottom, and hit extrude. I'm going to go into object mode and hit mesh smooth. Make sure my keep faces together is on. Sometimes students have that off for some odd strange reason. And I'm going to take these faces right here and extrude them out. Then hit the move tool or the scale tool to scale them out like this. Alright, so that's a pretty good shape right there. I'm going to go ahead and plop that into position and see if it takes up that area. Okay, it needs to be, the vertices need to be pulled down right here. And also they need to be pulled in. So I'm grabbing these with shift and control and moving them in until I can see that mesh. Okay, in this one I'm going to move in. So I'm trying to match that form pretty good. Scale that one down. Very good. Okay, now what we could do is get rid of the bottom side of this. So we'll go into face, and I'm just going to eliminate all the faces here. Delete. So just the outer shell. Okay, if you want this to be represented well, you can hit extrude, scale it in, and then push it down just a little bit. That way the normal map isn't doing all the work on it. This part can be duplicated, brought down here, and then flipped upside down. We're just going to have to check the normals to make sure that worked out well. You can jump into the front view and make sure it's the right size. I'll just move these vertices just like that and grab the whole part and move it down. And then grab these vertices and pull them up, so they're encompassed in the mesh. I should say these bolts pop out just a little bit. The bolts are going to be part of the normal map. Okay, last, I need these things to be represented. So first off, I'm going to make this just a little bit wider, just like that, and I'm going to insert some edge loops. Insert an edge loop there, insert an edge loop there, and then I could take this face and this face and extrude it down. Did I say last? I meant not last. One more thing. We need these bolts. I want the bolts to be represented well. I want them to have depth. I want them to have something where if a player walks up to them, they can see those bolts come out. So I'm going to extrude both sides of this. And then after I extrude, I go mesh smooth. That's my cylinder. I always use this for everything. If you've watched any of my series at all of modeling, you'll know that it's like my favorite friend. It's pretty sad. Not really. Okay, we're going to put this right up on top of that bolt. And we're going to shrink it down to make it the size of the bolt. That bolt's going to have to be toned down a little bit, I think, but we'll see. We might have to shrink it. It's too close to the edge. That's why. So here, I might take this bolt and move it down some. I do that by going into face, control right click to shell, and move it down. Okay, and then I can move this one also. It's a real slow going process of moving these Okay, so that should move that. No, I'm just going to say modify center pivot. So it moves the center pivot of this new shape here. Now the front of this matches up, the back of it does not, because there's a bolt on the back side. I'm going to have to split this video up into two, so I'll meet you in the next video where we continue to build these shapes.